In this lecture, I will explain about variables. So before explaining, I will explain something, that is, the important elements of a program are data, and second thing is instructions. If we talk about the important elements of a program contains two things, that is data and instructions. And these instructions perform operations upon the data, that is process the data to get the results. So every program that we write will contain these two major things, whatever the language may be, not just Python. So a program contains data and the set of instructions. Instructions are nothing but the set of operations, right? If you just have operations and you don't have data, then there is no use of a program. It is just like you have a recipe for preparing a dish. So a recipe is containing the set of steps or the instructions, but those instructions will perform on some ingredients, then only you can prepare a dish. If there are no ingredients, then no use of instruction, no use of recipe. So that's how the data is an ingredient of a program, right? Then how do you handle data in the programs? So we handle the data with the help of variables. Variables are nothing but the names given to data, or they are the reference to the data. For example, I want to store the age of a student in my program. So age, suppose his age is 15. So this value 15 is nothing but data, right? And this age is a variable. This is a variable. I am using this variable age to refer to this data or to store this data. So as our programs run inside the memory, so the data also occupies some memory. So this 15, let us look at it diagrammatically. So this value 15 is stored in the memory, and age is a variable that is referring to this value or holding this value, holding this data. So the variables are the names given to the data, or you can also say the variables are a reference to the data. If I take the example of item, I want to store the information about an item or a product in my program. So the information or the data about the product or an item is, suppose the name of a product is soap and its price is 15 bucks and the weight is 10 grams. Now this is the name of a soap, so I can call this with the name variable. The name is soap and the price is 15 bucks, okay, 15 unit, whatever it may be, the currency. Then this is weight, okay. So I'm storing the data of a particular product. These are the three things that are related to the product. I'm storing them in different variables. So these are the variable names and this is the data. So if you see it diagrammatically, name is a variable which is referring or holding the data, that is soap. Soap is stored in the memory and the variable name is referring to that soap. Now I can access this data with the help of name. Now similarly, price is a variable that is referring or given name to this data 15. So I have explained you what are variables. Now next important thing is how we declare the variables in Python. See, the important thing is whenever we declare a variable in Python, we also initialize it. So declaration and initialization is done together. So what does it mean? Let us see. Suppose I explain here. Suppose I want to take a value 10 and store it in a variable a. So a is a variable, then the value of this a is going to be 10. So this giving the name a is nothing but declaration, and this value of a is 10. So also I am giving the value to this variable or data to this variable. So this is called as initialization, and the initialization is done using this equal to operator, and this is called as assignment. This operator is called as assignment. So declaring a variable is giving the name of a variable, and storing the value to that is nothing but initialization. So whenever we declare a variable, we also initialize it. In Python, you can directly give a variable name and you can store the data. and you can initialize the data. Suppose I want to store a value that is 12.9 in this variable b. So variable b is declared as well as the value 12.9 is initialized in it. So declaration and initialization is done simultaneously. Suppose I want to take a variable c and I will leave it blank. So no, this is not allowed. You must write down some value. So it means that when you have some data, then only think of taking a variable name. If you have some data, then only you go for a variable. That's it. So declaration and initialization is very simple in Python. Now, if you are already familiar with the languages like C, C++, and Java, then you may be knowing that for declaring a variable, we must mention the data type. Suppose I want to store value 10, then I should say integer a assign 10, right? So, but in Python, we don't have to mention any data type. Just we can say a assign 10, a assign 10. So, data type for a variable is not required in Python. So let me demonstrate the declaration of few variables, and I will also assign the values to them. Let us look at it. See, I want to store the value 10 in a variable a. This is the method. So this is the shell. In this shell, I am directly typing the statements. Now I want to see the value present in a. Just I can say print a. So it will print the value 10. I want to store the name of an item, that is soap. If I print it, print name, then it will print the value soap. Yes. Now let us try to just declare a variable b. Enter. No, this is not allowed. Why you want b when you don't have any value with you? Right? So if you have a value that is soap, then you take a variable. If you value 10, then take a variable. Now suppose I have a value that is price, then I will take a variable price and I will store the value 15. So this will be stored in variable price. Alright. Now just declaring of a variable is not possible in Python. Declaration and initialization is possible, right? So always whenever you declare a variable, it must be initialized. Now we'll learn next interesting thing. We can declare multiple variables and initialize them simultaneously. Suppose I want to declare three variables a, b and c all together, and I want to store the values 5, 10 and 15. So I can initialize them with 5 and 10 and 15. So we can declare multiple variables together. So this value 5 will go into A, and 10 will go into B, and 15 will go into C. So the values given will be stored in corresponding variable, right, respectively. So we can declare and initialize multiple variables together. Suppose I want to store name of a product and the price of a product as well as weight of a product together. So I can store it like this. This is soap. So soap will go into variable name, and the price of this is 15 bucks. So this will go into price, and weight is 10 grams. So this will go into 10. So let us look at the demo for this one. A comma B comma C assign 5 comma 10 comma 15. So if I print C, I should get the value 15. Yes, it's working. Now name of a product and the price of a product and the weight of a product, right? So the name of a product is toothpaste, okay? And the price of the product is 10.5 bucks, okay? This is a floating value, and the weight is 5 gram. That's it. Now if I want to print a value that is price, then you can see that 10.5 is printed. Alright. So you can declare and initialize multiple variables in a single statement. And there's one more way. Suppose if you have multiple variables, like you want to declare variables x and y as well as z, and I want to assign the values like 1, 1, 1. All of them should have 1 only. Then we can do it this way also. We can assign x assign, y assign, z assign 1. So instead of writing same value multiple times, if you want all these variables should have the value 1 only, then you can declare and initialize them simultaneously like this. So that's all I have explained about the variable. So there is nothing to practice. If you just want to check this, you can open IDLE and you can try these things by yourself once, right? So we have not yet started writing the complete program. We will be doing it after few lectures, so we are just learning basic concepts. So I'll explain more about variables in the next lecture.